last hour, we were talking about Caden Boozer, but the final four, 1-1, 2-3. It's not chalky chalk. We don't have 4 1s, 3 1s, and a 2. Fairly chalky. I think when you sneak a 3 in, it feels pretty good. Definitely no Cinderella, but we kind of knew there wasn't going to be a Cinderella. If I want to put it in football terms, when I see a 1-1, 2-3, it's just what happens in college football every year. I mean, we had Indiana that was the one and beat everyone by double digits and dominated. I would be stunned if it's not Arizona, Michigan, but if I'm wrong, it's going to be number 2 UConn, right? So how wrong can you be with such a bold and fearless prediction, Lou? That's kind of the point. I do think the era of Cinderella is over for March, but on the opening weekend, you still had these fantastic finishes. I mean, just look at the Duke UConn. You had the worst play you've ever seen a player make in the tournament. And then you still had to have a shining moment shot from the opposing team to capitalize on the worst play you've ever seen a player make. And let me ask you this. You got to be a college basketball fan, but has it not been kind of fun to watch Arizona be Arizona and live up to their hype? I think there's been some entertainment in the way they've lived up to the expectation of being the number one. I've enjoyed it. You can't have Cinderella anymore because of NIL, but we always have to remember it's NIL plus transfer portal. It's one thing to be able to pay the players free agency, but the immediate eligibility, if players had to sit out even 1 year, everything would be completely different. And the fact that you could transfer every year, everything would be completely different if you had a one-time free or you had to sit out every time. It wouldn't look like this. Now, when you take a look at like Lane Kiffin, who ditched his team at the start of the college football playoff, when you take a look at some of these coaches and what they've done, I hate the way player movement works. I think it's bad for the game. I can give you all the rhetoric you've heard before, but every time I hear counters from pro player movements that say, look at what the coaches do. Again, Lane Kiffin left at the start of the season. You had college basketball coaches. Look at what they did at LSU. Like, I can't counter that. I have to sit there and nod my head and go, yeah, if coaches can do what they do, why can't players do what they do? This is America. This is money. This is economic freedom. If coaches have the right to do every scumbaggery thing we see, how can we say players shouldn't be allowed to insert the final part of that sentence? Because coaches do whatever they want. Yeah, I'm having trouble feeling the way I think as I watch coaches do some of the things that, well, we see them do. Just being honest here. We want to restrict players, but we can't restrict coaches. Oh, they've got buyouts, but they're leaving in season. They're taking their whole teams with them. They're destroying programs. They're leaving programs in ashes behind them. Hey, Texas A&M basketball had nothing when Buzz was done. Came out all right, but that's not the point. The system kind of doesn't work what you might say for anyone. Do you have an answer solution? Oh, coaches shouldn't be allowed to leave, or if a coach leaves, you can't take any players with them. Is that a real rule? Maybe the noble thoughts we used to have, players are not committing to the name on the front of the uniform anymore. Players are committing to the coach as an individual, and they're committing to the paycheck. And maybe we just need to get used to it and then make rules that are in accordance with the reality. And they're not committing to the traditions. And they're not committing to the name in the front. If everything's in alignment and they're committing to the name in front and the coach in the office and the community and all that. That's beautiful, but that's not business. Because when business has to have cutbacks, they're not like, no, let's give everyone a raise instead. So anyway, I'm just throwing that out there. When you've got everything the coaches do, why am I going to be pro restricting players? I do that math in my own head and it never adds up. It's just different, and I think some of us need to get used to it. Who's us? People that remember the old school, when you did commit to the name in front, where you grew up dreaming of being a Georgia Bulldog. Does a player grow up now dreaming of being a fighting Texas Aggie, a Longhorn, a Crimson Tide, or do they dream of getting paid? What is the dream? And I'm going to say for the majority of the elite players. Yeah, I grew up and I always wanted to be an Indiana Hoosier. Or is the motivation, it's not the dream, the motivation is, I can't wait to get paid. And are you going to tell me that that kid is lesser than? There's something wrong with him because he's growing up dreaming of getting paid? That makes no sense. I would argue that makes him normal. Just some of the thoughts out there in the world we live in. 979-693-1150. By the way, speaking of money, I found this fascinating. Kentucky, Wildcats, University of Kentucky. How many people actually, because with Kentucky, we don't exactly keep track of them, how many people know that they're an LLC? They transitioned their entire athletic department to an affiliated nonprofit entity dubbed Champions Blue LLC. First of its kind move in major college athletics. They felt like it positioned them, helped them in the changing college sports. The department announced they were going to borrow up to $141 million from the university, help them cover $31 million in projected athletic deficits. They're actually going all in athletics as an LLC. Like for basketball, they're supposed to have like a $22 million roster. Mind you, they didn't do much with it. University of Kentucky, again, the most unique athletic department, but it's supposed to give them unlimited funding. Now, I'm not going to sit here and talk economics with you. I'm sure there's something to be paid on the other side. Money. Some of the things that caught my attention. The Athletic, and I think it was the end of last week, and here's the headline of the article. How much do college players really get paid? Schools don't want you to know, but it should. And it's a fascinating conversation. They did the public requests for all the public universities, especially the P4s, to try and get, NIL data. And do you know that most schools wouldn't tell them? You can go to the online databases for all these public schools, and you can find out the janitor at UMass, what his salary, a surgery professor at Florida. You can get the recruiting budget at North Carolina, food expenses for the University of Houston men's basketball team. You can find out Lane Kiffin's contract all through, their public universities, freedom of information. But you can't get NIL money, NIL information. The schools that they contacted said it would violate student privacy laws. It would disclose trade secrets. The University of Texas told them that documents must be shielded to protect the Longhorns' quote unquote ability to compete with other top athletic programs. Wisconsin told them that publicizing the budget would jeopardize the competitive position of the university, weakening its athletic program, and it's detrimental to public interest. Here's the fascinating part of this. By keeping all the information private, schools are allowing agents, player representatives to play them against each other. If the information was public, you can't have them go, well, I got a 1.5 offer. You don't know if that's real or not. If all the information was public, then you would have better negotiating power. You would actually know market value as opposed to schools having to spend money willy-nilly. On an episode of The Audible, which is a podcast, Bruce Feldman had mentioned that one of the frustrations of Power 4 personnel directors, they have no ability to fact-check contract demands in the transfer portal. Zero. Because there's no database of info. But schools don't want to share info. They're all scared. But if everyone shared the info, you'd have a database. And you would actually know what players are worth. You could fact-check, as they said. So anyway, I find all this stuff just a little bit fascinating right now. The money of it all. But The Athletic, using the Public Information Freedom Act and all that, could not, almost no one shared any NIL data saying it would hurt them competitively if people knew what their budget, the money, what they spent and players were worth. Where if it was all public, they would know what the market value was instead of having to trust what an agent's saying on behalf of their client. Do they really have 3 offers? Is this really the value of a tackle guard? It would help towards concern and control of money, wouldn't it? Some thoughts. 979-693-1150. I saw an interesting concept, but it's not going to happen. Arbitration. But you have to have like this agreement and salary, almost like a CBA to have arbitration. They still haven't gotten to the point where they're going to admit that these are paid athletes. NCAA doesn't want that liability. Why would the college athletes ever agree to a CBA? There's nothing you can give them to make them concede that point, because then you'd have power over them. Yeah, I'm not sure how things change or you get any concessions to, well, why would the players want any organization? This system is 100% pro them. And I guess here's the bottom line question, bottom line thought I have. As a fan, do you care? Because here's what I've noticed. In the off season, it's a conversation. But man, once fall camp starts, I don't know of anyone. I don't know in season during the week on one college football. None of us. It dies. The conversation caring about, ridiculous player contract. No one cares. Once we have it's an off-season thing. Even then, maybe a bit. I don't know very many people that lose sleep. I don't know of anyone that's burned their season tickets over NIL and contract demands of players. Maybe it's happened. I just haven't heard. It's something in the offseason. I don't think it gets in the way of the game. Do you? Let me grab a timeout. We'll come back. We'll move on in the rest of the world of sports. Heading towards a listen in with Mario Cristobal and more. This is the Louis Bellina Show from inside the Charles Schwab studio. Monday on the Zone.
Your home for the Houston Astros is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
The Louis Bellina Show, Monday, down the stretch we come, rest of the world of sports. Then a listen in, Mario Cristobal, and then gotta say bye-bye. Louis Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric, built on faith, family, community. Astros, Rangers, opening day, opening weekend. Both teams took the loss on opening day Thursday. Rangers were off on Friday. Astros had a 4-game set with the Angels. In the end, 2-2 opening weekend for the Houston Astros. And, okay, Hunter Brown, purely dominant on Thursday. After that, absolutely hideous, heinous. They got awful starting pitching. And remember, the secret to the season was going to be the starting pitching and health, right? Lou, it's the first start. No, I know it was the first starts, but they did not get close. They did not sniff a quality start. They lose 6-2 on Friday. Javier wasn't good. 11-9 was the win on Saturday. Awful. The starting pitching. And then 9-7 was the win on Sunday. Other than Hunter Brown, the starting pitching was really bad. Bullpen was shaky, but not bad. The offense, stunningly, as you could tell, they scored a combined 20 runs on Saturday, Sunday after scoring 2 runs on Thursday, Friday. Yordan Alvarez looks really good. The only problem with him is he's the guy that can stand up out of his chair too fast and be out for 3 months. Enjoy him while you have him. 2-2. Angels 2-2. Texas leads the AL West after the opening weekend at 2-1. I hope the Astros can make up that half-game deficit. I think there's plenty of time left. What do you think? That's just sarcasm, which doesn't translate well. I know. Astros open up a 3-game series tonight. They just wrapped up the 4-gamer with Angels. With Boston, the Red Sox. Lance McCullers, 5-hole, 5-starter, 5-spot. Will make the start. I will keep it simplistic. Yes, I will. Lance McCullers, I love him. World Series hero. He's never been anything but a good Astro. Last year, came back after kind of 2 years straight of not pitching. 2 years of injuries, 2 years of surgeries. He was awful. I like Lance McCullers. I hope he's got one good one left in him. He's taken a lot of heat from people like me for being awful last year. I can't blame him for working hard, doing everything he was asked, taking the ball when it was handed to him. He didn't have it. Another offseason? More recovery time? Can he be the number 5 starter? I hope so. Because he's wanted nothing but to contribute. He's not trying to sabotage the team. I thought that, and with the money's being paid, I think that's why they can't do it. He would have been great in the pen. But it's okay. He's the 5 starter. And man, that first time through, other than Hunter Brown, they could sure use a quality start. So tonight, right here on the Zone, 11:50 a.m. and 93.7 FM. Tonight, here on the Zone, Astros, Red Sox, 6:40 pregame. And then you have first pitch will be like 7:10. And Astros baseball on the Zone is brought to you by Kelly Burt Dozer. You do hear select games on Willie 1550 AM, just so you'll know. But Astros baseball on the Zone and Willie 1550 AM is thanks to Kelly Burt Dozer. Some news, some notes. Mentioned before, 3 out of the top 5 arms in the pen starting the year on the IL. Enyel de los Santos, he threw 2 rehab, he's going to do 2 rehab outings minimum. He hit 1 batter so far. He's still 60 days. He's going to be a while. Yordan Alvarez, 4 for 13, home run, 5 walks. I think he's reached 9 times in the first 4 games. 4 hits, 5 walks. Isaac Paredes, 2 for 5, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs in the win Sunday. 3 for 9 to start the year. Brian King got the save. Brian Abreu is supposed to be the closer, but, well, he comes in, starts tonight, gives up a pair of walks. So they bring in Brian King, got the final out. Brian Abreu, he is what we call struggling to start the year. It's early. I want Josh Hader back. Maybe May. Earliest would be very end of April, right? No. End of May. That would be the earliest. End of May. Yanier Diaz. Tough start to the year. 2 for 12, 5 strikeouts. 2 for 12, 5 strikeouts. Any other news and notes? Nah. I told you, starting pitching, not very good, but it's early. I'm going to say that a lot. Mention that the Texas Rangers, they lost their opening day, took Friday off, and then they took Phillies. I mean, a great in Philly, right? Dubs. 5-4 and 10 Saturday, 8-3 on Sunday. Absolutely just phenomenal bounce back. Now, they're going to stay out on the road, Camden Yards, Baltimore at Travel Day Thursday, home openers Friday, Globe Life, 3:05. Chip Howard's going to be there. Chip Howard, I don't think in the entire time I've known him, which is like 55 years now, has ever missed home opener at Globe Life. So Friday, the Reds over the weekend, Cincy, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, including the home opener. Some Rangers news and notes for you. Darian Blanco got outrighted to AAA. Ryan Brazier is back with the Texas Rangers, signed a minor league deal. Any other news and notes? Brandon Nimmo hit his first homer as a Ranger Sunday. Saturday, Tyler Alexander got the save. Andrew McCutcheon's homered in the Rangers win on Sunday. 3-run shot, gone. Wouldn't want to be you. He's supposed to be, the left-handed side of the platoon with Jock Peterson? Mackenzie Gore, first start, first win. First start, first win. Struck out 7, went a 5 1/3 Sunday. Evan Carter, member health, ready, breakout season, out of the lineup Sunday. Out of the lineup Sunday. It was a lefty. But the first 2 lefties they faced, so he didn't start in 2 of the first 3 games of the year for Evan Carter. Any other Rangers news and notes? No, that's it. That's good enough. It's early. I'm going to keep saying that. And I'm going to keep saying that. Who was it? Oh, Bryce Jones. That's why I'm saying it. Whenever we talk Astros, he says early. I look up, it's August, and I think he's still telling me it's early. By the way, I got a sneaky feeling. I don't know how many people watched how much baseball. But the new ABS system, automated ball strike system, it's only 1 weekend in, but it might be the greatest thing they've ever introduced into baseball. People are fascinated by it. It has introduced a whole new level of strategy to the game. Players, teams, coaches. It's exposing the bad that we always knew was bad. If Angel Hernandez was still umpiring, it would be like a horror movie. It would be a 30 for 30. The worst current working is CB Buckner. Sure enough, first game behind the plate. 8 challenges, 6 got overturned, including back-to-back plays. Like, it's exactly what you knew it would be with him behind the plate. 8 challenges, 6 got overturned. The crowd went nuts because there were so many, including back-to-back plays. I don't believe we should be cruel to our fellow human beings, but like Angel Hernandez got to work so far past his expiration date, there's no reason why CB Buckner should be working. So moments like that, you have to, I say enjoy. I prefer to choose the game over someone working for no reason. Through 35 games, the challenge rate resulted in calls, blah, blah, was 2.4%. And in AAA, where they used it full, it's been for a while, 3%. So fairly comparable. Everything through the opening weekend was consistent with all the data they had compiled prior and previously, including how many get overturned and everything. In other words, it's kind of working as intended. It's kind of working perfectly. Doesn't get in the way of the game. Doesn't take long. Are the overturns high, low? No, exactly as we've seen from the data they had collected. So, speaking of baseball, man, I got to share this with everybody. Joe Sheehan of the Joe Sheehan newsletter. If you're not familiar, Joe Sheehan is probably the greatest thinker of baseball of our modern time. The Joe Sheehan newsletter is where he shares all those thoughts. Him and I have talked MLB for, holy cow, 23 or 4 years. He returns He returns at 12 noon each and every Tuesday, starting tomorrow. So, I got to ask him about ABS and more. Joe Sheehan of the Joe Sheehan newsletter returns tomorrow, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And the ABS will be at the top of the list. But for the hardcores, for those that really watch baseball, the ABS has added a whole new, and I mean exciting feature to the game. And CB Buckner got exposed, but what else did you expect? When we return, a listen in Mario Cristobal. We're going to be listening to the national championship contender coaches for the rest of the spring. Just mix them in here and there. It's good to be informed for more than just your own. This is the Louis Bellina Show from inside the Charles Schwab studio. Oh, it's still Monday, isn't it? Yep, it is.
You can get the podcasts of Texangs Live, The Louis Bellina Show, or Chip Howard at zone1150.com, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Down to the river.
Saturday night, headliner Troubadour.
And the party never ends. Sonny was a loner, he was owning the rest. He was going in the Navy, but he couldn't pass the test, so he hung around.
This is the Louis Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. The Louis Bellina Show from inside the Charles Schwab studio. In uncertain times, Charles Schwab remains invested in their clients by offering personalized guidance and clarity. And how's it personalized? Like, do they embroider your stuff? No. You got Mark Sim right here in College Station. So you get to walk through the door, sit down, look them in the eye and shake a hand. And that's personalized. And that's the kind of business I want to do. We're talking about your financial now and your financial future, you and your family. Get answers to your questions. Learn more at schwab.com/College Station. Time now, a listen in. And all spring, the remaining time we have, we're going to listen in. Greg McElroy visits with the national championship contender coaches, like Ryan Day, Marcus Freeman, Kurt Signetti. And we're going to begin the listen-ins with these top coaches from Always Be College Football podcast. That is Greg McElroy. Here is Mario Cristobal.
Let's dive in. He's the head coach of the Miami Hurricanes. He's Mario Cristobal. Well, it's hard to go through the list of accomplishments from last year, but I know he's already looking forward, but I have to acknowledge the school record for wins last season, which is saying a lot. Number 2 final ranking in every single major poll. First national championship game in 2 decades. Multiple bowl game victories in a single season. Just an incredible season for the Miami Hurricanes, and they were led by Mario Cristobal. Coach, when you go through the list of accomplishments, I know there are many. It's almost too many to list. But I know, knowing you, there's still that one carrot dangling at the end of the tunnel. So for all the positives, I know you're focused on improvement. So how have you kind of taken the good in with the disappointment and allowed that to kind of propel you forward?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, thank you for having me on. It's an honor to be on here. But it's a great question. And I think it starts with this acknowledgement of tremendous progress and some great accomplishments, and also recognizing that there's so much more room to get better and to grow, and not, you want to win every single game. We have goals, and there's a lot of things, a lot of different carrots we still want to get after. But certainly what we cannot do, and I can't allow the program to do, is to let, the final game taint all the great things, but at the same time, let it drive and motivate you. So there's a balance there. And it's the simplicity of acknowledgement with honesty and with transparency, man. Let's go get better. Let's go work our butts off and on to the next one.
It's amazing, though, and we were talking a little bit before we started. I thought that watching your team last year, having you early in the season, having you late in the season, then having you a couple times in the college football playoff, the culture was just incredible. Just like a culture of nobody wanted to play you. It was just they are going to make it an absolute dogfight. And the culture now, it feels like you. I felt like the team really embodied you last year. And with some new players this year, how do you recreate that edge, that violent culture that you had last season?
I think it's a combination of the entire staff. I think we're all very like-minded individuals. We kind of do the same things. We think the same way. We're all out of our minds in the right kind of way, I hope. But I think it's the team allowed us to be us, and I guess players allow it. Just the blend the union, this galvanizing of just like-minded people. It just, everybody was themselves with, at the same time, right, with one mindset. So our own personalities, but it's what we like to do. Like these guys, they love to mix it up. They love to work, for the most part, kept our mouths shut and worked. Some guys, they get after a little bit, in other respects too, but we've gotten a lot better and come a long way. And it's just the simplicity of we love ball. We love ball and we love the physical aspect of it. And we just want to get better at it.
Well, it's funny because I've talked to a lot of coaches now, Coach, and look, you've done a great job with roster retention, stockpiling your recruiting classes year after year. It's always off the charts good. But I feel like so many guys, and maybe this is a misconception, a lot of guys and a lot of coaches are concerned about the level of intensity in practice because for fear of losing a guy because you don't have the depth that you once had. So you guys, I know I've seen your practices. Like it's a bare knuckle brawl all throughout. And it's awesome to see that you have guys on your team that still want to go to work the way we went to work. But that feels like it's not really the norm anymore. It actually feels like it's the anomaly. So how do you identify the players that are going to want to be in that environment, want to be pushed and want to practice, frankly, harder than most other places are willing to practice?
Well, it works for us. And what really works for us is making sure that we give them the opportunity to watch us in our natural element and watch the way we practice, like front and center, every intense moment, man, every ass chewing, every difficult and physical drill so that there are no misunderstandings. It's the old saying, right? Prior agreements prevent later misunderstandings. It's not, it has everything to do with helping someone achieve his absolute best and knowing that as the season wears on, you better be your toughest and your most physical self when you enter, right, October, November, December, January, because all those teams are so good, man, and they got big bodies and they could slug it out. So you better be equipped to be able to go toe-to-toe in rounds 11 through 15 of those heavyweight fights.
Well, it's going to be reflected in the NFL draft coming up, which I know you're going to be there. We're going to probably get plenty of. Are you going to have a nice suit picked out? I think like a green with like an orange.
Have a nice suit, I wear the same stuff all the time. I'm an awful dresser,
Well, it's going to be reflected, though. I know your guys won't be. They'll be dressed to perfection, I would imagine, because you're going to have 3 guys go off board the first round with CeCe Maui-Noah, Bain, of course, who I'm not sure anyone. I'm so glad people are finally stopped talking about, there's length. It's, who can watch him? Like, who cares? And then, of course, with what Mesidor did last year as well, you're going to be really well represented in the NFL draft. So that's got to be helpful, too, from a proof of concept standpoint, where I'm going to push you, but ultimately we're going to get you where you want to go. So how is them realizing that NFL draft dream and you guys dominating all throughout the draft because you have a bunch of guys go, not just in the first round, but beyond that, seeing guys realize that dream, how does that help with your proof of concept on the recruiting trail and with how you're trying to implement that culture with the guys?
Well, brother, I got to take you back to 2022 when we first got here and we were speaking at some type of function. And as the plane's about to take off, it's on day 3 of the draft. And we had to stop the plane from taking off because Miami was about to have its 25-year, draft streak broken because no one had been drafted. And finally, they picked one of our guys in the 7th round. We hadn't coached a single practice yet. And I looked over at the general manager. I go, brother, we got a lot of work to do. Because, right, those things are direct reflections of each other, the mirror images. If you're winning during the season, you're winning in April and then back again during the season, right? It's just cyclical. And so, there's everything that we preached and that we pushed and talked about. We're starting to see validation of that in so many ways, from the wins, to the opportunities in the postseason, to guys getting drafted. And not only that, man, all these guys are leaving with diplomas and double diplomas. And I mean, you should see they're off the field, like life after football opportunities because of where we live. I mean, it's the business capital really maybe of the world right now. So it's a really neat time. And all we got to do is shut up and work, right, and get better. That's all we got to do and not focus on anything else.
It is a world-class city, no denying that. But it's amazing with how many guys you guys bring in on an annual basis in the portal and how you're selective. And it was a lot. Now it's slimming down a little bit, but still high in quality. The roster retention being what it is. The fact that you lose just 4 guys off your entire roster that played 100-plus snaps to the portal says a lot about your willingness to, hey, we're going to get there. We're going to earn it. That to me says a lot. When you see guys staying, even though you're bringing guys in to compete with those guys, that says a lot about the guys on your team. So how are you able to balance the success in the portal and yet still have the roster retention that you have?
Yeah, and we're good to people, man. We push ourselves, we push each other, we challenge each other. But, man, we're honest and we're transparent and we're as fair as we could possibly be. We're truth tellers. And I think at the end of the day, as a parent, that's what we want for our kids, right? Someone to groom them, teach them, mentor them, push them, challenge them, put your arm around them when they need it. But, man, they better get the truth on a daily basis right between the eyes. And we do that. And, come game time, we cut it loose. We cut it loose and we have fun playing football. We really, really enjoy scrimmages, team periods. We have fun trying to knock the you-know-what out of each other. And that thing is contagious. And we're attracting a lot of, guys that are like-minded that love that. So it's building a lot of momentum. And we want to keep that momentum going by continuing to bring in the right people.
Well, there were a few in college football that were more fun to watch than Bain and Mesidor last year. And them being gone, no denying, is a massive production hit. We get that. But you have retooled in the portal. So when you're scouting edge rushers in the portal, for example, are you looking for highly productive guys, finished products, guys that maybe really fit what you do? Are you looking for raw traits? How do you and Coach Jason Taylor, who's got a pretty good eye for it, I would imagine, how do you kind of identify the guys that you want to become that Miami-style disruptor along the defensive line?
Yeah, I think you just defined it. I mean, that's an absolute monster, right, is what you want. I mean, those guys, and they were groomed, right, over the course of, 2, 3, 4 years, but they were game wreckers. And they changed the way people were trying to play us, and it allowed us to do a lot of different things. And Coach Heatherman's system allows those guys to play fast and free. So if we identify the traits, guys that have the right motor, that are willing to be physical and play recklessly with their body but intelligently from an assignment standpoint, we go after those guys. And we've gotten longer and more explosive. And we've had a lot, like Armando Blunt's played a lot of football. Marquise Lightfoot's played a lot of football. Dirk Scroggins has played a lot of football. I mean, gosh. How many? Hayden Lowe has yet to take a snap, and that's another monster. Booker Pickett. So we feel very confident that we've recruited well, and so we took one on the edge who's a very high level player, has a chance to be a top draft pick next year, but he's complemented by some awesome players on our roster, and we just want to cut them loose and play ball.
Yeah, Blunt's a guy I don't think ever gets enough credit. That dude eats people alive, man. Looking at the quarterback, we got to move to that because you've had a lot of success recently with the veteran transfer quarterback. And with Darian Mensah coming down from Duke, that's massive, right? What is it about his game that kind of fits your identity? Maybe it's a little different than that of what we saw from Carson Beck, and very different from that of what we saw from Cam Ward.
He's really good. I mean, he's accurate. He's got an unbelievable sense in his pocket awareness is off the charts. His off-script stuff, his on-schedule stuff is elite. He's got the right temperament. I mean, he is an alpha, and he's got a great personality. People really gravitate to him. He's really athletic. He's a hard worker. He's really smart. I mean, he checks all the boxes, man. And it's a great young quarterback room too that he can groom as well. So I think he's a game changer, and I think the guys behind him are going to be groomed and game changers as well. So we couldn't ask for a better opportunity, and I think we're going to complement him with some really hard work and skill guys that they're hell bent on finding a way to just take our talent level and our performance levels to another dimension, and with Malachi Tony leading the charge, I think we feel pretty confident that we're going to continue to get better.
Yeah, I think he's a good one to kind of lean your hat on.
He's not bad.
He's got a chance.
Mario Cristobal, a listen in from Greg McElroy's Always College Football podcast. Again, all spring long, we're going to listen to the top coaches, i.e. Cignetti, Ryan Day, Marcus Freeman, and so many more. Part of us getting ready for the upcoming college football season. And again, Greg McElroy is Always College Football podcast. When we come back, we're going to say bye. We're going to wrap things up. It is the Louis Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. Residential, commercial, and industrial services. It's what they do at CC Electric. This is the Louis Bellina Show, Monday on the Zone.
Can't reach your radio? Listen to Aggie Baseball online at RadioAggieland.com.